Welcome back to Coin Quest, where we uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1960 Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another ordinary copper coin. But don't let its size fool you. This little penny has a lot more going on beneath the surface. Stick around because we're going to break down the history, key varieties, collector demand, and just how much money one of these coins could be worth today. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's likeness, and it replaced the Indian head cent which had been in circulation since 1859. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent has become one of the most iconic and longest-running coins in American numismatics. Fast forward to 1960. It was a time of major cultural and political shifts in the United States. John F. Kennedy had just been elected president. The Cold War was heating up. And while all of that was happening, the U.S. Mint was quietly striking millions of Lincoln pennies, some of which would become very important to collectors. Now here's where things get interesting. In 1960, the Mint produced two main varieties of the Lincoln cent, the small date and the large date. This happened both at the Philadelphia Mint, which made coins without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which made coins with a small d under the date. So what's the difference between the small date and the large date? It's subtle, but important. On the small date coin, the digits in the date are more compact, and the tops of the numbers are more in line with each other. On the large date version, the numbers are taller, and the 6 in particular is more prominent. This might not sound like a big deal, but to collectors, these tiny differences make a world of difference. In particular, the 1960 small date penny from the Philadelphia Mint has become especially valuable. Why? Because it was produced in lower quantities than the large date version, and it's harder to find in high-grade condition. That scarcity has driven up the demand among collectors, and that means one thing: value. Now let's talk numbers. If you have a 1960 Lincoln penny in circulated condition, the kind you might find in your change or tucked away in an old jar, it's usually worth just a few cents over face value, maybe 2 to 10 cents depending on the grade. But if you have a small date variety, especially in uncirculated or mint state condition, you could be looking at a lot more. For example, a 1960 small date penny in mint state 65 red, that's a coin that hasn't been touched or worn and has full red luster, can sell for $30 to $50 or more, depending on the market. Some specimens that have been graded and slabbed by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. And if you're lucky enough to have one with a high grade like MS67 or higher, you could be looking at 4 figures. But wait, it gets better. There are also proof coins from 1960, which were made specifically for collectors and have a mirror-like finish. These were only produced at the Philadelphia Mint and also come in small and large date varieties. The 1960 proof small date is significantly rarer and can fetch over $100 or more in top condition, and then there are the errors and varieties. Some 1960 pennies have doubling in the date or mint mark, what's called a double die. Others might have off-center strikes, die cracks, or other minting anomalies. These can dramatically increase a coin's value. Some rare error pennies from 1960 have sold for several hundred to over $1,000, depending on the specific mistake and the grade of the coin. So how do you know if you've got one of these valuable coins? The first step is to check the date closely under a magnifying glass or coin loop. Compare your coin to pictures of the small and large date versions online or in a coin guidebook. Look for that compact date on the small date version. If you think you have a small date penny, especially one in excellent condition, it might be worth sending it to a grading service to get it authenticated and graded. That way, you'll have an official record of its quality and value, which can make a huge difference when it comes time to sell. Now let's talk current market value. As of this recording, a standard 1960 penny in average circulated condition is worth about 2 to 5 cents. But a small date uncirculated penny can range from $30 to $100, with rare high-grade specimens reaching several hundred or more. Proof small dates in top grades can be worth $100 to $300, and high-grade error coins or unique varieties can push the value well over $1,000. So before you toss that old penny aside or spend it without a second thought, take a closer look. You might be holding a piece of history, and possibly a small fortune, right in your hand. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting tips, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Have you ever found a rare penny in your change? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of the 1978 1-cent coin featuring the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln. You might have one lying around in your piggy bank or tucked away in an old jar, but do you know what it could be worth? Stick around, because we're breaking down the history, the value, and what makes certain 1978 pennies worth a surprising amount of money. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, when it was first issued to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design by Victor David Brenner has become one of the most recognizable in American numismatics. But today, we are zeroing in on a specific year, 1978. So what's special about the 1978 Lincoln penny? At first glance, not much. It was struck in massive quantities. Over 5 billion coins were minted that year across 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most were made from a copper alloy, 95% copper and 5% zinc, which was standard until the composition changed in 1982 due to rising metal costs. Now here's where it gets interesting. Even though these coins are common, collectors are always on the hunt for certain varieties, rare errors, and high-grade examples. And that's what can make a 1978 penny worth far more than 1 cent. Let's talk value. In circulated condition, most 1978 pennies are worth face value. That's right, just 1 cent. But when you get into uncirculated condition, especially with high grades certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, the value starts to climb. A 1978 Lincoln cent in mint state 65 can fetch around $1 to $3. Not bad, considering it's a coin that many people still overlook. But wait, the big money comes in when we talk about error coins. You heard that right. Some 1978 pennies were struck with noticeable mint errors, like off-center strikes, double dives, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. These kinds of mistakes can make a coin highly desirable among collectors. For example, a 1978 penny with a dramatic off-center strike, let's say 50% or more, could easily be worth $50 or more depending on eye appeal and condition. A double die obverse, where the doubling is visible in the letters of the word liberty or the date, can also bring in serious cash. And if you somehow stumble upon a 1978 penny struck on a dime planchet, you might be looking at several $100 or more. So what should you look for? Here are a few tips. First, check the mint mark. 1978 pennies from Denver will have a small D below the date. Those from San Francisco have an S, and Philadelphia coins will have no mint mark at all. While none of these are super rare, some collectors prefer certain mints depending on strike quality and rarity of known errors. Next, inspect the coin surface carefully. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loupe if you can. Look for doubling, strange textures, off-center designs, or anything unusual. Coins with strong luster and no visible wear are also more valuable to collectors. Now, let's talk current market trends. As of today, the market for Lincoln cents, especially older copper coins, remains steady. With rising interest in tangible assets and collectibles, high-grade copper pennies from the 1970s have seen gradual increases in value. While a standard circulated 1978 penny is still worth just 1 cent, its melt value, the value of its metal content, is actually a bit more, thanks to its copper composition. However, melting pennies is illegal in the United States, so collectors focus more on rarity and condition. So to sum it all up, is your 1978 Lincoln penny worth a lot of money? Probably not, but possibly yes. If it's a rare error or in perfect uncirculated condition, it might bring in a decent profit. If nothing else, it's a piece of American history and part of a beloved coin series that's been going strong for over a century. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more videos on rare coins, collecting tips, and market updates, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment below if you've got a 1978 penny, or if you've ever found an error coin in your change. You never know what treasures are waiting to be discovered. See you in the next one, and happy collecting, where we uncover hidden treasures and dive deep into the stories behind your everyday coins and currency. Today we're shining a spotlight on one of the smallest yet most iconic coins in U.S. history, the 2019 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Now, you might be wondering what could possibly make a modern penny so special. After all, it's just 1 cent, right? But hold on, because this tiny copper-plated coin might be worth more than you think, and we're going to break it all down. Let's start with a bit of history, because to understand the value of this coin, you've got to understand the legacy behind it. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, first appeared on the penny in 1909. That marked the 100th anniversary of his birth, and it was the very first time a U.S. president had ever been featured on a circulating American coin designed by Victor David Brenner. The original Lincoln wheat penny was revolutionary for its time, and ever since then the penny has become a tribute not just to Lincoln, but to American history itself. Fast forward to 2019, and we're now looking at a penny that seems pretty standard on the surface, but actually holds a few surprises. So what makes the 2019 Lincoln penny stand out? First, let's talk about the versions. There are 3 main mint marks for this coin: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D, and San Francisco with an S. The ones from Philadelphia and Denver were released into general circulation, while the S-minted coins were part of special proof sets only available to collectors. Here's where things get interesting. While most 2019 pennies are worth face value, there are some rare varieties and errors that collectors are actively hunting for and are willing to pay top dollar for. One of the most talked about examples is the 2019 W penny. That's right, a penny with a W mint mark from West Point Mint. These were never released into regular circulation. Instead, they were included as bonuses in special collector sets from the U.S. Mint, and that alone makes them super collectible. But we're not done yet. There are also known 2019 pennies with dramatic die errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks. And if you're lucky enough to come across one of those in your pocket change, you could be holding a coin worth $5, $10, or even over $100, depending on the condition and rarity of the error. Let's break it down by mint mark. The 2019 D penny from Denver is the most common and is typically worth face value unless it has an error or is in pristine uncirculated condition. Those can fetch up to 50 cents to $1, with some MS67 or higher graded examples selling for more at auctions. Now, the 2019 no mint mark penny from Philadelphia is also very common, but like the Denver version, can increase in value if it's in flawless condition. Coins graded MS68 red have sold for over $20 and higher. Grades have reached auction prices of $50 to $100. The 2019 S-proof penny is a different story altogether. These are mirror-like coins made for collectors, and they're not meant for circulation. if you have one in its original proof set, it can sell anywhere from $5 to $10 by itself and higher if part of the complete set with the original packaging. Now the star of the show is the 2019 W Penny. These were struck at the West Point Mint and came in 3 different finishes: reverse proof, uncirculated, and proof versions. These are limited and desirable, and individually they can sell for $10 to $20, with full sets often selling for $50 to $60 or more on collector sites and auction platforms. What drives the value of these coins is rarity, condition, and demand. The better the condition, the higher the grade, and the more a collector is willing to pay. If you think you have a valuable one, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That certification could boost its market value significantly. So what's the current market value for the 2019 Lincoln Penny? Well, if you've got a regular one from your pocket, it's likely still worth 1 cent, maybe a little more if it's uncirculated. But if you've got one of those rare 2019 W versions or a dramatic error coin, you could be looking at $20, $50, or even $100 from the right buyer. Just imagine finding a little copper coin in your spare change that turns out to be a miniature treasure. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's not just about the money, it's about the history, the hunt, and the hidden gems waiting to be discovered. So check your change, take a look at your coin jars, and maybe even grab a magnifying glass. You never know what might be sitting there unnoticed, waiting to be uncovered. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin stories, and drop a comment below letting me know if you've ever found a valuable penny, or if you've got one of these 2019 beauties in your collection. Until next time, happy collecting.